how we doing, everybody? Welcome to another session of Tyranny of Dragons here on Forgebreaker. As always, happy to have each and every one of you here with us tonight. It's going to be a pretty exciting and interesting session. Getting prepared to move north and head towards the Sea of Moving Ice, which is where the Drakhorn is currently located. We're going to hunt that down, hopefully destroy that damn thing, and keep these dragons from showing up all the time, because it's pretty distracting. But before we get into that, let's cover our news for the day. Civil War tomorrow. It is part 2 of 3 for the Rise of Tyrus finale. Then we move into Fate's game night. I believe he's playing Amnesia this week. At least that was the latest I heard from him. Then we have Replay on Friday, Ascension Sunday, back here on Tuesday. Next Wednesday is Giants. Entropy is the following Sunday. Lots of stuff coming up. We hope you'll tune in for it. Should be some pretty good fun. Believe everybody is ready over here. Yep. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
As will ever be, I think.
Sure.
Alright, so we're gonna struggle bust through this recap with Discord fucking all over the place.
Struggle bust.
Alrighty, so the last session. So you left the Palace of Waterdeep and decided to get some shopping and resupplying done before you decided to take off towards the Sea of Moving Ice. You stopped mostly, a few places, but namely an apothecary shop, and you were able to find some items that you would probably, serve you well from a lovely yet somewhat shady and a bit of an innocent way drow woman who ran the shop. Even his name was Amelia. As you exited the shop, you found a half-elf letter courier that seemed to be looking for you. You were given a letter and found yourself presented with an invitation of a somewhat mysterious origin, signed by a mysterious letter X. You were told to venture to the Northward of Waterdeep and visit the old Zoblob shop. Not sure if this was some plot cooked up by the cult or not, so you decided to go ahead and investigate it anyway. You eventually found this shop as the day started moving into evening. And you saw that it was kits and doodads of somewhat questionable origin. All of them were purple in their coloration. The gnome before you, who referred to himself as Old Zoblob himself, was bald and had floating eye tattoos all over his head. He was a very odd character. As you recited the phrase from the letter you were given, he nodded knowingly and told you to follow him. Old Zoblob led you through the back end of his shop to a stairwell leading deep underground. He gave you directions as you entered what had to be the sewers below the city of Waterdeep and bid you adieu, leaving you to find your ultimate destination alone. You followed this odd gnome's directions and found yourself in a somewhat cramped series of caves. As you began to explore this area, you found yourself in a bit of a tedious environment, almost like you were stuck in some kind of sick game. Very odd design were laid before you, as well as chests in all of these branching off rooms you were discovering. Some of these chests held treasure, others held teeth. One room even had a bear dropped upon traps on the floor was discharged. The bear, unable to move through the confines of the tunnels, ended up being fed by the group and recruited as a new friend for Stone Skull. You found a few more rooms that you scouted out very carefully and found some more treasure, but none of the traps or monsters sent after you compared to what you found in the final large chamber. In this towering chamber, the ceiling rising many feet above you, you saw what appeared to be firelight coming from the south of you. As you moved, large orb-like figures began descending from the ceiling. As they got closer, you saw mangled and rotting skin covered them, along with two smaller creatures. that were not undead accompanying these two large monstrosities. The beholders, zombies, and spectators attacked immediately. The battle ended up being somewhat comical. Terra immediately cast confusion on the group of creatures and caused them to lash out at each other and move in odd directions. Clever use of the Wall of Fire spell further, by Ignalia rather, further turned the battle in your favor against the creatures, and ultimately, you made short work of them. After the battle concluded, you once again approached the firelight to the south and found a couple more chests in this room. Upon the wall above the chest was another note. You found yourselves being rewarded for making it through this mysterious X's dungeon, and found more treasure in the two chests. After clearing a bit more of a path for your new bear companion, you exited out of the cave and the sewers and decided to head back to the Palace of Waterdeep to sleep off your somewhat strange encounter. And even though as you moved through the now night-filled city, you got some strange looks, especially with Stone Skull moving through with a pet bear with him now, you were able to make it back to the palace without anything happening. And you rested. You find yourselves now waking up again to another day in the City of Splendors, knowing that your transportation and setup for moving to the Sea of Moving Ice would be ready soon. So you find yourselves waking up in your respective rooms, once again, much like when you were here for the council, set up in these kind of lavish sanctuaries is what you could only call them, here in the Palace of Waterdeep. And with that, you are set free. What do you want to do?
How much time has passed since we initially dropped our weapons off?
This is the second day.
And we were told 3 days?
You were told 10 days.
Oh, 10 days. Okay. All right. Well, that's not an option.
Your bluff has failed.
I don't remember because I didn't drop my weapon off. That was you guys, not me. I'm asking for you.
Now, Stone Skull, you just hold the orb like this, okay, and you focus the way we talked about. You know, like when you do the ritual? Yes. Just make that big vein appear. That one. Yeah, the one up there. And just, really focus. Now, which side do you think is front? No, just choose a way. Use your instinct. That is correct.
As he does so, a gout of cold energy spouts out, going right over your shoulder, Ignalia, and hitting the chandelier.
The answer is yes. They're all yes. You can't hold it wrong. Just remember, it probably won't work that well on a cold dragon, so maybe save it for the fiery ones. And, away from me. Thank you.
As ice hangs from the chandelier that's now damaged.
We should probably leave before we have to pay for that.
Okay. What's everybody else do?
I am taking irony to every blacksmith in the city.
Oh, I want to join Ignalia on that quest. I'm not even.
I know. We're going. Fun getting there. What's that, Zorn?
Okay.
I said I don't even want to do anything. I just want to be present and see what these guys say.
Excellent.
Okay.
I'm gonna accompany just for the first couple because I want to buy a new rapier.
Okay.
For the lulls.
For the lulls. Okay. So Stone Skull, you head down back through the winding maze that is inside the Palace of Waterdeep, able to remember your pathway, having given clear instructions several times by some of the servants. You find your way back down to the stables, and you remember that you left your bear here, even at the suggestion of some of the guards and a very weary stable hand. You move down, you do see the wagon is still sitting next to these stables, and you find your very large warhorse grazing on some hay and such in his stall. You see that several stalls have been cleared out, and you actually see that 3 of them have their walls missing in the middle of them now. As you look over, hearing a growl, you see the large, back of this cave bear kind of rooting around, digging around in circles and such, and finding another place to lay down inside of this newly made compartment for it.
Kind of thinks to himself, I guess I'm going to have to pay for that too. Starts looking around. Gonna just get everything prepared on the wagon first, and then once it's kind of ready to go, start, get the horse into position and everything like that, and then I'll go and check on the bear.
Okay. So as you're doing that, you see your friends coming out of the palace as well. You all see Stone Skull sitting over there, preparing the wagon and such, and getting the horse ready as well. Do y'all want to stop at the tradesward and go find the blacksmith quarter again?
Yeah, they do. I think that's what they're gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You could tell me if there's any other blacksmiths I can find that might be good enough in handling that. But I get the feeling I'm definitely avoiding the would-be warlock as long as possible.
Couldn't imagine why. Give me an investigation
Need
check.
to Magnolia. That person who owes you guys owe all those favors to. I bet he could do it.
That's an apt way of putting it, yes.
Okay. So you kind of ask around, stopping with some of the guards. They seem to be kind of preoccupied with their duty, but somewhat exasperated. One of them turns to you as you're asking about a blacksmith and says, "Well, there's one here in the one area of them here in the castle ward. There's a market." He kind of points off to the north, slightly to the east. There's a small market up here that you could go to. There's some decent ones there. Only the finest live in this ward.
Oh, well, that's good information. Thank you. I'll head that way. What should I look for? Any sigil?
Turning back to his watch, he kind of shrugs. He says, "Look for anvils. Kind of hard to miss."
I was hoping for something a little bit more spectacular, but alright, that'll do. Thank you.
Guy just grunts at you.
I've never even seen anything spectacular.
Spectacular.
Yep.
I just feel like that's very depressing.
Okay, so Stone Skull, you're gonna stay there and continue with the wagon?
Yeah. I'm just basically passing time, doing, just doing the preparations.
Okay. All right, so the rest of you start heading off to the north. It takes you about 30 minutes, actually. You weren't given very clear directions. You start moving through the castle where, seeing this is very symmetrically word. The rows of the streets just going north to south, and only a couple of pathways leading east to west through it. You start walking around, going the north of the first street, not able to find anything. You start going down south of the street to the east of this one. And eventually, as you're about halfway through the street, you hear clanging off to your east, and you start following it, heading up one of these side passages, going over to the east as well. And you find yourself in a small kind of market, this kind of open square here. You see different stalls all around you of various goods, foodstuffs, and leatherworks and things of that nature. And kind of off to the northeast side of it, you see a few forges set up for 3 apparently different blacksmith quarters.
All right. To make quicker and more honest work of it, I will use Detect Magic and then kind of walk, in front of all of them and see which one kind of detects the most magic items inside.
Okay. The first 2, as you cross by them, you don't see a whole lot. You see a couple of swords that kind of radiate little inklings of magic. Seem like they're just very finely made and maybe had a little bit of reinforcement or something like that spells cast upon them, either by the blacksmith or an employed wizard or something of that nature. As you get to the 3rd one, however, still not a ton of magic, but definitely more than the other 2. You see a few pieces of armor as well. You see some trying to think of what the word is. Kind of pins is what they look like. You recognize them as probably pieces of traps and such that can be constructed together, infused with some kind of reinforcing magic as well as some weapons and things like that. All of it infused with some magic.
Okay. So yeah, I'll head into the 3rd shop then.
Okay. As you move into this 3rd shop, you look over to the side of it up next to the forge, and you see a bit smaller man, not necessarily in stature. He's about 5.5 feet tall, but definitely not as burly and big armed and such as you come to expect from blacksmiths and forgers. And as he turns around, you kind of see why, as you see what appears to be a half elf that's running this forge. His body is definitely much more muscled than others of his race, but not nearly as so as some of the humans or Goliaths that you've seen running some of the forges.
Good day, sir. I would take it this is your shop?
With that, the man turns towards you. Bring up my name generator here real quick. And with that, the half elf nods to you as he raising his that he was using to hammer onto what appears to be a small short sword. He turns and looks at you and wipes some sweat from his brow and says, "Yes, it is. My name is Galen, and I run this establishment. What can I help you with?"
Well, I'm on a business from the council. I have a particular project in mind, and I am looking for a talented blacksmith with notable experience handling magical items. If you would care to hear my request, and I will start to slip off what I imagine is a very large, very obvious door just shrouded in a tapestry.
So as you start doing so, you hear Irony saying, "Oh, what is this? This looks like fun. Wait, what is he doing with that hammer?" And as the door kind of rests down on the ground in front of him, Galen starts walking forward and says, "I have some experience. I claim to be no expert in magic items, but I do know my way around. What is it that you have here?"
This is the sentient door that we picked up from the last dungeon.
Irony. He's a new friend. He quite enjoys deflecting metal, you could say. And I was hoping we could possibly shrink him down into a more manageable size, and he, turn his shape into a shield.
As you say that, you see the half-elf's eyebrow raise in kind of a questioning, mocking fashion. He looks at the door. He says, "Your door here is your friend." And as soon as he says that, Irony pipes up. He says, "Yes, we're great friends. They rescued me after opening me." It was a very joyous occasion, actually.
We're trying to keep some of this from Max,
back a bit. He says, "Oh,
who's returning tonight.
You weren't kidding. Okay,
we're leaving some of it shrouded in
we
this
braved his cavern, and inside we found the true treasure, friendship.
I hate you.
Let it burn."
A groan erupts from somewhere in the distance. So with that, Irony says, "Yes, we're great friends now. They hammered me quite well. It was quite enjoyable. I can only wait for what an expert can do."
I don't know how good, Galen, you are at hammering out the kinks, but you got your work cut out for you.
As you say that, Galen looks visibly uncomfortable. stepping back a bit, and he kind of nods. He says, "Okay. You said a shield, yes?
Yes, that would be correct.
Okay. And your friend, Irony, was it?" And Irony responds, "Yes, that's my name. They told me it. They always want me to. They always want to speak my name." And with that, Galvin kind of nods. He says, "Okay."
We've considered changing his name to Dumble.
No.
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 Oh
No.
that was good though.
Damn it, that was good. So with that, Galvin nods. He says, "I think I could manage that as long as your friend here doesn't mind being reshaped."
Sounds like he has a handle on it, Ignalia.
Disconnect the stream. Our license is revoked.
This is done. I'm ending
Nope.
stream now. It was nice seeing you, everybody. Have a good night.
Our button
Oh,
code
I've
has been
got more.
saturated.
All right. So, Irony chimes in. Says, I mean, if it's not going to be too painful, I mean, maybe even if it is, honestly, I don't know, but I'm willing to try it if you are. And Galen kind of nods once again, kind of setting down his hammer, and you see him kind of wiping sweat away and then just creasing his fingers across the bridge of his nose and sighing. He says, "Okay, this is a quite unusual request, as you may know. It may take some time. I do have a few orders I need to finish up and get them out in the next couple days, but then I could go on working with your friend here. Yes, I think I could do it." You see him moving forward, trying to, after the sigh, clearing his face and becoming a bit businesslike. He steps up and he starts moving around this door that Ignalia kind of has propped up with one hand, and as he kind of feels along the edges, you hear Irony go, "Ooh, that tickles!" And Calvin shudders away and then goes back to inspecting, kind of focusing as much as he can to his work. He says, "Yes, he's well made. This door is your friend rather is well made. Should be able to stand up to most attacks, magical and non-magical alike." You see him standing back upright and thinking, kind of rubbing his chin. Says, "It would take me several days to probably do so, and to preserve the magic within this item here would take a little bit longer. Otherwise, I could make you some iron shields, no problem. But if you want your friend to remain inside, it will take a little bit longer." Kind of thing. Says, 10 days or so, maybe.
Can I talk you into 9?
With that, Gallon looks at you. He says, "Maybe if everything goes well, it would only take 7 or 8, but I'm kind of giving myself a little leeway just in case. I've never turned a door into a shield before, pray tell. So I could probably swing 9, yeah."
Oh, that would be much appreciated, just to keep on our schedule. What would you be looking for in terms of payment? I'm fairly well situated, and I'll also show him the writ from the council just to give him a bit of incentive to help me, make it work. And then I also promise to get him a very fine pair of wool earmuffs.
Oh, wool earmuffs would be adorable.
He looks over the writ and, much like everybody else, kind of wide-eyed, and he nods. He says, "Normally I would do it free of charge for the lords of, the lords of this realm here, but it's a very unusual request. But of course I could knock some off for heroes of the realm, of course." He thinks for a moment. "I'm not sure exactly. It's high, and maybe I'll be able to come down with the price when you say 1 second. Let me confer with my,
Yes, that's right.
my tome."
Run to your tables.
I didn't know how much this should cost.
Just so we're clear, I'm removing the door from my inventory.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please.
Uh,
I can actually carry it. I don't know why we made you lug it around.
Because I have like a 600 carry weight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you just got a new-
fancy-
And the door was smaller than I was. Where the
Ever
door's
so
bigger
slightly.
than you guys.
All right. So as he thinks about it, he kind of shakes his head. He says, "It's gonna be a magical shield. It's gonna take some time to cut down, so a little bit more for that. 650 gold pieces. Sound fair?"
I will do 700 to include a tip, and just to remind you, it's experimental, but please take care to preserve my friend. It's more important than the shield.
With that, Galen nods quickly. He says, "Very well. I promise I will do my best. I should be able to preserve him in one form or another, barring any setbacks. So yeah, if you would want to leave the," he kind of motions over to next to a bench. There's a pile of different metals, some swords and stuff like that. Says, "If you would like to leave your friend there, I can see you once again in about 9 days' time. We'll aim for there, and I'll have it ready for you."
Right?
All right, well, that sounds excellent. And I'll give him a handshake and quickly separate out 70 platinum pieces.
Okay. And as you do so, he puts the pieces into it and he sets it off to the side and shakes hands with you and nods. 2 days, and we'll see if you appreciate the work or not. And he says it with a bit of a smirk. Like I said, you do see everything around him is, pretty finely made. He doesn't put off shabby work, so you're relatively confident you'll be able to pull this off.
No, I nod and take that for, I take his word for it. It sounds good.
Okay.
And before I forget, I have a lot of random quote-unquote art in my inventory. Can I get that all sold?
Yeah, you probably have to go down because you're kind of looking around as you're exiting this blacksmith shop, Gallen's shop. You see there are a few places around here, but none of them really selling art. You definitely feel that you would have a better chance of selling this art if you went down to the tradesward.
Okay, and yeah, I'll do that. You can move on to someone else if you want to break it up some. I just wanted to make sure we didn't forget before we left the city.
Like I said, if nothing else, you start heading back down towards the palace. If nothing else, just ask Stone Skull if he needs anything. You do know that you're going to be on at least a several-day journey. You were kind of told by Leos, and to make it to the Sea of Moving Ice won't take particularly long, less than a week, due to the sheer speed of traveling across the water instead of the land. But you do know that you need to stock up on rations and such. That winter clothes, snowshoes, and stuff of that nature will be provided for you. But rations would probably be a good idea at the very least, and offloading anything you don't need.
Perhaps I can convince someone to pick up my share of rations, since I'm already cold, while I head off to sell some silk robes and fine art.
Okay. So you meet up with Stone Skull, who's inspecting his bear at this point. Once again, Stone Skull, you see this bear is. You see that it actually probably wasn't the stable hands or any of the hands of the palace that opened up and made these living conditions more roomy. It was probably the bear himself, as you see jagged edges of wood and such have been cleared away and kind of piled off to the side to give plenty of room for this bear to lay down.
I'm gonna just kind of look at the damage and look over at the bear, kind of put two and two together here, and turn back, look over at the stable hand, and just like hand him 10 gold, and just kind of turn back around and walk over and check on the bear.
Okay. So as you're checking on, as you're glancing around, seeing the damage and everything, you actually see the stable Hand, who was very nervous around your bear last night, is sitting over. It looks like he didn't sleep at all the night before. His hair is frazzled. He has dark circles under his eyes. He's just kind of slumped over, at least 20 feet away from where the bear is, leaning against the wall. You can see him occasionally and just kind of shaking his head.
Gonna walk over to the bear and kind of just pet the neck and back of the bear, just to kind of get its attention. And I'm gonna assume that I have enough time to kind of prepare and perform the ritual again, to kind of speak to it and just kind of give it a little bit of insight of what's about to happen.
Okay. Yeah, and you're able to do so, starting shortly after Ignalia and the others left.
Okay.
Kind of, what's going on and stuff.
Yeah, just basically to tell it that we'll be traveling, that where we are going, he's going to run into danger, but I will and the party will attempt to do everything we can to keep it from meeting harm in our adventures.
Okay, and as you do so, communicating to this creature, it responds to you not really with words, but more so, feelings, as it grunts and lets out various sounds and stuff. And you get the idea that it doesn't seem to mind battle too much. Fighting stuff is just kind of a way of life for it. It just wants to be fed. It wants to make sure that it's well fed in these travels.
Mm-hmm. And kind of getting that information, just give the bear a little bit of reassurance that we'll bring extra rations along for it, to ensure that it doesn't have any issues. Did you have what did you say we were going to do for rations on that for a day? For the bear?
It would eat the equivalent of 5 rations per day.
Ooh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
a big boy.
Yeah. And that's fine. So, in order to prepare for that, after we get done kind of doing our thing here, I'll go and, or as I finish with the bear, I'll go and just grab just a shit ton of rations to put in the wagon.
Okay. Give me 1 second, because I just flung my phone across the room.
Did you hear it correct?
No, we're good. It's dusty now. That's about it. So yeah, as you're, understanding, kind of mildly surprised by the fact that it eats so much, but knowing that you could probably afford it, you see Ignalia and the others approaching from the north, heading back out of the Castleward Market, back down towards you.
Okay.
You see that Tyranny is no longer in their presence.
Awesome. Just kind of watch him approach and look over at Ignalia and say, so how long is it going to be before our friend's with us again?
Well, sounds like we should be able to collect him about the same time that we get our silvered weapons back. He should, hopefully look as he feels.
Very well. Kind of look back at the wagon and the horse and the pet bear that we haven't named yet. And I look back at Ignalia again and say, I've got to go and get a bunch of rations. This is going to be very bad for us.
I kind of just look over, around him at the bear, put him between me and the bear again.
As long as
Yeah.
as we keep it fed, I don't think we're gonna have any issues. But I don't want to risk this.
Is
I'll
he
get-
coming up with us to the north?
Yes, he is.
Aren't you afraid that that's going to make him want to go to sleep?
No, I'm not afraid of that. And I kind of look over at Ignalia, kind of like, should I be afraid of this?
Keep a straight face and kind of just raise my shoulders slowly.
I kind of shake my head. No, it'll be fine. We're not going to spend that much time in this very frigid environment.
I surely hope not. That would be unbearable.
As long as he doesn't cave into his instincts.
And if he doesn't, we'll
That
just have to
rocks
grin
go
and bear it.
flying. I hate you all so much.
Real now.
All right, so as that goes on, you all have the knowledge that Stone Skull seeking out rations and such, and Ignalia wanting to part with her wares that she has obtained over her travels. The trades war is probably going to be the best bet. You know that at the earliest, it's still fairly early in the morning, not even close to midday yet. The boat that Erlenthar was going to get ready for you probably won't be ready until after midday at the very least. So you have some time to do any further shopping that you want to do.
Just so you're aware, Havoc, I have 23 rations on my person, but I'm going to keep 100 in the wagon for the bear for like long duration.
Okay.
It's jerky and rations, so it's fine.
All
50 gold total.
So you're just going to be buying a shit ton of rations then?
Yeah, I just bought a bunch of rations to throw in the wagon.
Okay.
I literally get like an extra 5 days of rations myself, and always keep a secret handful of jerky on my person just to be safe.
Not a bad idea. So as you're making your way down, before you're able to buy all this, you're making your way down towards the trades ward. You move through the castle ward to the east, following the tradeway that actually runs through the city. You find yourself back in there, and you're able to start seeing some shops ahead of you that easily could take all the art and paintings and robes that Ignalia has on hand. You see lots of food shops, a lot of them set up for ration giving, dried
Definitely
meats and things like
making
that,
my
already
way
set up
downtown.
on display for everything. However, as you're walking through the trades ward of Waterdeep, you all hear a loud crash, almost like the sound of a large wave breaking across stone. And then you hear screams following this crash. One scream above the others as you see this man with his arms flailing in the air directly towards you, running from your south towards you. He screams out loud, "Dragon! There's a dragon in the market!" As you hear this scream through the crowd, within seconds of it, the fear from these shouts, taking just a second for it to set in, begins to infect the crowd all around you, hundreds of people. The mass of people starts to surge this way and that, and people struggle to find a way to run from the danger. Though it seems that most of them don't even know where the danger is. They just heard dragon, they're starting to move. As you're all looking around, immediately grabbing onto your weapons instinctively. Down to your south, you see with a loud roar and a gout of flame, you just see directly south to you in a small square market down below you, no more than 200 feet away, the head of a huge golden scaled dragon rising above the people, fire spraying into the air. The crowd surges again around you, starting to push you backwards up to the north, this time heading clearly away from the dragon that everybody just saw. What do you want to do?
Terrified. But I'm gonna go and group everybody.
I will draw my sword and head in the direction of the dragon.
Yep, let's start heading that way.
Okay. Anybody stay behind?
No. I'll take everything sent to you.
All right, so everybody drawing your weapons, you start moving down. As you approach where you spotted the dragon, you find yourself in a square market set up in an intersection of streets. You still see 100 or more people around you, most of them frozen in fear as they stare at the sight before them. In the middle of the square, a huge dragon struggles before you. It thrashes its head side to side as if fighting some invisible enemy, though nobody and nothing seems to be attacking it. You watch as it moves across the square, collapsing a cart full of what appears to be cabbages beneath its heavy steps. As you begin to step forward through the crowd, fighting against the crowd of people still moving against you, the dragon freezes in place and lets out a low murmur of a growl deep in its throat. You see its body begin slowly sinking to the ground and shrinking. Its form begins to grow smaller and smaller, a warm mist hissing away from its ever-shrinking body. You see every proportion of its body growing tinier, and its appendages changing shape. You begin to see clothes, no, not clothes, armor appearing. Armor that you're all very familiar with. As the transformation comes to an end, you see your friend, Maximilian, lying among the rubble and destruction where the dragon was moments before. He pants heavily, staring blankly at the ground before him. Max, you find yourself prone on the ground, leaning on your arms and panting heavily. Your body feels as if it's been torn apart and put back together. You glance around your position and start to get a grasp of your surroundings ever so slowly. You're in a city. You see people, lots of people. They're all staring at you. A cloud of mist seems to be dissipating around you slowly.
Don't remind me.
You remember flashes, power, strength, ferocity, pain, nobility, a torrent of feelings and emotions surges through you and then vanishes in a flash. As these emotions fade, you rise shakily to your feet, your body feeling odd and uncomfortable. You try to remember how you got here. You remember the tomb of Didarius and agreeing to speak with Didarius, then nothing, white, a blank space in your memory. You look down at your hands and find you're holding something in them, an old golden-colored tome in your right hand. You scan the people surrounding you again and see fear and unease in all of their eyes. As you pick through the crowd, you see familiar faces. Your friends stand among the crowd, a clear look of shock on their faces.
Nope.
Except for Karen.
Just, like seeing everybody look down, just kind of standing confused just in the square, looking at you, just head cocked, shell shocked.
Tara's gonna turn to. So is it a dragon or not? It doesn't feel like one.
Really? You had to do that in public? Shouldn't you do that by yourself when you're alone?
Where are we?
Well, you've had quite the journey. Welcome back to Waterdeep.
Imagine taking a step, making my first step toward the mine, and cave down, fistful of dirt, or maybe just stepping on rubble. I'm just not quite acclimated to my body yet.
Yeah, it's those pesky wings. You've been letting the legs get weak.
I feel like I haven't moved in days.
Well, you've been gone nigh on, 2 weeks now?
Darius. I don't remember anything. I just imagine, as I'm getting up, kind of extending this tome in my hand. I'm not sure what this is either.
Does it talk?
What? I didn't hear what you said.
I said, does it talk?
I don't exactly know what that means. I don't think it talks. It looks like a book.
Well, in the last week, we've learned a valuable lesson, and that's if it looks like a book and it talks like a book, it's talking, stab it, because those chests were terrible.
I'll have to have you repeat that to me later, when stuff starts to make sense again.
It's been a weird week, but welcome back, friend.
Did I, kind of surveying the damage, like, is that a memory, or did I do that?
Eventually,
I think that was you.
I remember glimpses of it, what it felt like, what it used to feel like. Where, in terms of Verum, where is he?
Verum is safely in the jail cells of the castle. Leosin is tending to him.
What about the mask? The mask.
The mask is in the Well of Dragons.
Yes, we got quite a good bit of information from him, including where their home base is, and a little bit on how they operate.
He's very cooperative. Stone
The
Skull
dwarf
didn't have to
was
break anything.
cooperative.
it's true. I didn't have to break anything.
It's okay, big guy. We'll find you something soon.
I feel different now.
Well,
It looked the same to me.
you just spent time amongst the gods. I'm not really sure what one would come out the other side feeling like.
I unsheath the antagonist and kind of hold it out in front of me, and make it ignite into bright gold light, and just kind of hold it up into the air, like a not on fire, but glowing, I guess.
I give a very polite golf clap.
What are the citizens doing as all this is going on?
So as you're talking amongst yourselves, you see the citizens, these Water Havens, are kind of looking amongst each other. Murmurs of the crowd have started going up. You see a few very disgruntled-looking shop owners moving around through a few of these carts that have been destroyed. You see one man standing behind Maximilian that just kind of falls down on his knees, tears kind of welling up in his eyes, and he simply says, "My cabbages," looking down at the ground that covered his cart.
We found the lamest NPC.
And we made his life worse.
As this is happening too, you hear the unmistakable sound of clink, 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 and you start turning your heads at the sound of it. You see several, no less than 20 city guards moving up through the crowd, kind of brushing them aside. And as they approach, the ones in the front kind of have their swords at the ready, and they kind of stop and look around and see this bit of destruction through the markets, and see the group of you kind of standing towards the middle of it and looking very confused.
It's difficult to explain. Ignalia?
What's that, big guy? Sorry, I really need to see a man about some cabbages. Why don't you talk to them? And then I immediately run over to all the guys with damage and just start paying out in forms of art and such. Enough compensation.
So as you start doing so, one of the guards walks up to Stone Skull. You see him sheathing his sword and kind of scratching the back of his head, and he's like, his eyes kind of wander up Stone Skull's immense frame, and he looks up at him and says, "Well, what happened here?"
Well, you see what happened.
Tell
was.
him about the
I'll
dragon.
kind of I'll kind of step forward in front of the group and say, "This is damage, and this is my doing. You have not only my apologies, but I will take care of all costs with this."
I call from the background. I'm already working on it, and I kind of slip on a cabbage.
My cabbages. As you say that, the guard looks over at you, Max, and looks behind you. And like I said, this is several carts. Almost a ton worth of wood just shambles across this marketplace. He looks back at you and says, "You caused all of this within a few minutes. Quite a destructive streak through you."
Yes, that's one way to put it. It was not intentional, and if I could control it, I would.
With that,
So,
even before he cuts him off, shrugging, he says, "Very well, if you did this, though," and he points back to the two guards behind him. He says, "Seize him, take him off to the gallows."
Whoa.
Whoa,
Perhaps
whoa.
we can discuss this.
There will be no
Reach,
seizing.
I'm imagining it's still on my person. Just kind of reach
Yeah,
back and, push the writ towards the man.
So as you do so, these two guards walking up, holding out their gauntleted fists to go ahead and seize your arms. You hold out the writ, kind of slamming it up and interposing it between you and them. And one of them kind of frowns and looks back at the other one, the leader of this guard troop. And with that, the head guard kind of shrugs and motions for you to bring it to him. So he grabs the paper and takes it from you and leads it back over to the head guard, who takes a few moments to read it. And you see his eyes start to bulge as he gets down to the bottom of it. And he looks back up at you and then back down at the writ and back up at you. He says, Well, this changes things." With that, he rolls up the writ and walks up to you, Max, handing it back to you. Says, "Keep that safe. You have," and he kind of lowers his voice a bit as he starts spreading out and helping with the cleanup as well as assisting the commoners around him. He leans in towards you, Max, and says, "While you do have the blessing of the council, I would appreciate it for my own sanity if you didn't cause such destruction." He kind of motions out around the market around him. "This is a bit of paperwork for me, you could understand."
I understand, Captain. I don't believe in kind of motioning to the rest of the group that we will be here for much longer. I'll get out of your hair as fast as I can. Also, my offer to take care of this stands. I don't know what it is for this damage, but you can leave it with and look back to us. Where are we again?
What was the name of the place we were at?
We're in Waterdeep.
No,
Palace of
the...
Waterdeep.
Oh, we're in the palace? Oh, okay.
Well, I think we're in the market right now, aren't we?
No, I
You're in the
mean,
trades
yeah,
floor,
like
not
the
where
city.
we're
Yeah,
staying.
that's what I was talking about.
Where you're staying
I
is in
don't know
Palace of Waterdeep.
where we are geographically, or anything really.
Yeah, you're down here geographically, but you were staying in the Palace of Waterdeep over here-ish.
Oh, okay.
At the base of Mount Waterdeep. And up here is where Castle Waterdeep is, but you're not staying there.
Yeah.
So with that, with Max's offer, he kind of waves his hand. He says, "It'll be taken care of one way or another, I'm sure." The crowd, it's like a lot of people have seen you. He kind of glances over at Nalia, who's just giving away all of her paintings and such, able to get a little bit of money back for it and everything. He says, "I would probably be for your best interest to go ahead and vacate this area, go to a different ward for the time being until we settle things down."
Absolutely.
With that, I'll kind of nod and then look back down at the tome that's in my hand and look back. So, do we have safe shelter we can return to?
Oh, we have great shelter. They set us up nice while you were gone, Max.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in immediate danger for once.
I would lead the way, but not really sure where I am right now.
It's okay, I've got it. And kind of walk up and wrap my arm around the neck of Max and say, "You're not gonna believe what I'm about to show you."
With that, I mean, just a giant grin come across, Max's face. I can't wait for you to show me.
All right,
And,
so
yeah.
you all start
Good
making
to
your
be back.
way out of the trades ward, exiting out of this market. You see the crowd is, within a block or two, the crowd is back to normal in this area. It seems like the outburst of a freaking dragon didn't really upset them too much, as it seems to have been taken care of very quickly. But you find yourselves walking back through the city, back towards the northwest, towards the Palace of Waterdeep.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to be clear, where did we stand on me getting my items fenced?
For the robes, you got half value. You got everything else full value. Just because you were kind of giving the robes away.
I was just whatever I had to give away to compensate them for their carts.
Yeah, and those would cover them more so than enough.
Yeah, I figured. Plus,
Yep, it's all.
they have to go and sell it, so a little bit of extra there.
Yeah, we'll just say for the sake of brevity, you're able to get almost full value for everything except for the robes that you gave away to kind of compensate for the carts. You lost a little money there, but otherwise you were able to get full value for it.
Excellent. Oh, and I'll spend a little bit of time figuring out what the hell these orange mystery potions do.
Okay. Okay, I remember what those are. Okay. Alright. What's everybody else doing as you're either heading back to the palace or in the palace?
Did all my shopping before we went into the danger zone, so Tara's just going to be taking care of gear and all that good jazz.
Okay. Steve, you were able to find, not able to find any super finely crafted rapiers, but you're able to find a pretty well done one for the the base price listed in the handbook.
I start doling out beer money.
Okay. Let's see. Willie, what are you doing?
I'm gonna hang out with Stone Skull.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh shit. You're just gonna put the tome away for right now, or are you gonna read it, or?
Yeah. No, I am when I get back to reconvene. We got a second to ourselves.
Okay. So when you get around to reading it, it is in your collection now.
Oh, good.
Titled Mysterious Tome. So everybody else is getting ready and such, getting some final shopping done, kind of going on your by yourselves, to cut down on any incidents or people wrecker. So you're able to get all the supplies that you're looking for, sell off some final wares and such, get some extra drinking money from Magnolia. You find yourself, it's past midday at this point. Lunch has already been served inside your rooms as well as down in the common area of the palace. And you find yourselves open to do what you want to do.
I'm going to take Max over where the pet bear friend companion is. Going to walk him over and not tell him what awaits around the corner, but I'm just gonna walk him up, and as soon as we get around the corner, I'm just gonna kind of ease him in and like let him walk forward towards where the bear is.
Yeah, so as soon as I come around the corner and see a bear, it's I run to sheathe the antagonist to get behind a defensive stance behind the shield and be like, "There's a bear here."
No, don't worry about that. He's friendly, see? And walk over and kind of pet again, kind of petting it like between the ears and on the back of its neck.
As you I imagine you just kind of walk past me, still in kind of a defensive stance. I looked at that bear is with you.
Stone Skull just grins and says, "Oh, he's with us."
I'll kind of let my guard down a bit as I stand up and say, "What? He's with us through and through?"
Stone Skull nods at him.
What's his name?
I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
He'll make for a fantastic companion. How big is he? How big is this bear?
It's large. Yeah.
So, well, is he staying here as a guard, or he travels with us as well?
He will be traveling with us. He is going to be my new combat mount.
You're going to ride that. Him. I'm sorry.
Just nod again.
Well, that will be a sight to see. I'm kind of, quizzically looking, said, I mentioned travel, but we've been moving so much since we started. I just imagined that we were going to be continuing to some other destination. Do we know where is that our next stop?
Thinks for a second, trying to recall it, and he's the horn. I believe that's where we're headed. The sea of ice, moving ice, something like that.
To the north, then. Well,
he nods.
Your bear here will be a welcome companion when the weather turns.
Kind of look around. Obviously, I'm assuming I'm assuming a normal saddle or anything like that isn't going to work for this.
You might need to get one kind of slightly modified, just to have like longer straps to wrap around this much larger body than a horse. But otherwise, the saddle would work.
Okay. Is that something that can be done pretty quickly?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so as we're kind of standing here, I point over to the wagon and the horse, which Max was familiar with, and say we at least got that's going to make travel a little easier. Kind of a little worried about the horse going up into the cold, but we'll just have to see how this all plays out, I suppose.
Well, we should at least make sure that we're all prepared for the cold.
And Stone Skull grins and says, "I think I'll be okay." And it's funny because he's, loincloth and a cloak, basically.
Yeah, I kind of give my armor a tink, with my claw. This is going to be very cold indeed. I'm assuming we could, how long until we leave?
I don't believe Ignalia is set.
I don't know. Am I actually there right now?
No,
No,
you're not
I think
there yet.
They went off somewhere.
Yeah, we went back over where the stables were.
All right, so we'll just say this. So as they're talking, the rest of y'all went out to like I said, get your shopping done. Anything else you would like to pick up at the, before you set off. As you all kind of initially went back to your rooms, a couple of you were able to find letters from Leosin that have been left in your rooms for you to find. And you see that they list that after midday, your boat to the Sea of Moving Ice will be ready. The boat's name will be Frost Skimmer, and you just need to make your way down to the dockboard and find a somewhat grisly-looking man. From the description on him, say that his name is Lerustar, or as some call him, Half-Face.
Half-Face?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Frost Skimmer.
Imagine you're retreating to rooms. There's like a common area. I'll start flipping through the pages of the tome. And you just want to share that with everyone?
I mean, I can if you want to, or if you want to share it yourself, you're more than welcome to. It's up to you.
Yeah, well, I just kind of want to leave it open and let everybody see as I, get a chance to digest it. Basically, I'll call everyone into the room and point it out.
Nope.
So,
Take
yeah,
that away from me.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I closed it. I closed it for role-playing reasons.
Okay.
So, you guys are kind of reading. I'll mention the visions that I had. It felt like daydreams were true. I am or was a dragon at one point. I've been banished by Bahamut. And now I'm on a path that can for salvation. I don't know what it is that I've done, but I know that I must continue doing good where I can in an effort to reclaim what I used to be. I can only imagine this trial by fire is the next step in our journey. But a fitting title for going to the Sea of Moving Ice.
Well, for Houch.
What's that?
Perhaps it means you're the judge if it's a trial of fire.
Perhaps. None of this makes sense. Speaking of the traditional, but I know in my soul what I must do and what must be done, and I feel a desire, a burning desire, this to the end.
Well, that much is necessary for certain. The gods give us direction, but if they wanted it, well, they would hold town halls rather than prophecy.
Some things are better understood during the trial than after.
So yeah, those of you who are able to read the book, like I said, you see this I mean, it's pretty well made, but definitely seems to be worn by age. Maximilian definitely didn't have when he departed from you, or at least not that you ever saw. You see that there isn't much writing into it. It seems like there's a small scribbled message on the inside page from the cover, and then a few pages in, there seems to be a passage in it that seems to coincide somewhat with recent developments that came across Maximilian himself with his body. You see the second verse that is listed, once again, is the Trial of Fire. But no other text seems to follow. Even as you flip through the rest of the pages, you find they all are blank.
My story has much yet to be developed.
It's like it's just getting started. So, y'all have anything else you would like to do, or do you want to head down to the dock ward? You want to fuck off with this and go party at the Dragonlance Castle Fortress? What do you want to do?
Did you say Castle Fortress?
I was unaware that this was an option.
Wait, it's D&D. Anything's an option we may in the session like now, and I'll go work on that. But
To the Underdark.
I mean, my would-be father is killing a dragon like 3 days from here. You guys want to, side quest?
It's D&D where the plots are made up and the rules don't matter.
Right.
The make-believe points you award us are inspiration.
I just need to make sure I have cold weather gear.
Tara is going to start handing all the cold weather gear out that she got from Leosin, which includes a blanket for the warhorse.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they explained that Leosin was making sure that you were all set up, minus rations and with you personal items, but otherwise cold weather gear. To give you a tier. So cold weather gear, clothes and such like that are provided for you. Snowshoes to be able to walk across any kind of frozen tundra are also provided. Anything you would basically need for the cold environment is being provided for you. Once again, minus like rations and things of that nature.
No, fair. Said it's nice of Leos and then not have forgotten about me too. Just in case. Where is he? Is he here?
He was at one point. I haven't seen him in a while.
And you all know that Leosin's last kind of directive that you knew of was that he was going to be partaking in the interrogation of your new prisoner that you brought him, Varum the White. Kind of assumed that he might be working on that still. But he has told you of Frostskimmer and all that fun stuff down at the dump there. If you want to go see if you can find him, you can. It's up to you.
No, we all have our own mission in this. Yeah, we can leave, brother. I just need to reacclimate myself. Perhaps a night's rest in this body will do me good.
It sounds like a solid plan. But before you do so, might I suggest you hit this, and I pull out the pipes of haunting.
I'm just gonna cover my ears.
So as he pulls out these pipes, you see pipes. It's more so like a bone attached, or two bones attached to each other. One of them has notches in it. You see what appear to be either like raven skulls or something like that attached to the top with like twine intermingled and holding it all together. And he kind of just holds out this somewhat dour-looking instrument to you, or she does.
What do you think?
To do with this?
Well, normally play, but please don't do it now or in earshot of anyone that you don't want to run screaming.
Oh, are we doing that? Please don't play those.
It was fun.
I'll be looking at there.
Are you
Perhaps.
giving the pipe, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you giving it to her?
Yeah. I am handing you this magic item.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you get these pipes in your hand, you definitely feel some magic eking off of them, and you can see what they do. They're in your journal now, or your collection. rather.
Thank you. Oh, nice.
It's pretty solid, actually. I feel like it's very important to note, Willie, that when you see me, I'm just absolutely ripped. My guns are at peak performance.
Oh, are you?
I got a belt of giant strength.
Oh, you're Ripley.
Oh, so Ripley. Like, disgusting veins.
All right. Hey.
They were busy while you were gone.
Yeah.
Very, very busy.
I can't wait to...
Stone Skull feels inferior compared to Ignalia now.
You have the same modifier, you'll live.
Yeah.
All right.
well,
So what's the plan?
Northward.
Are we having a rager at the castle?
I'm getting some rest, so I'm gonna turn it in for the night and just, even if it's not sleep, just kind of be by myself for a bit.
I will go to local temple, put in some time and prayers for, my father.
Okay.
I'm going to. We have a boat, right?
Yeah, you said basically the letter told you about this boat Frostskimmer or captained by Larostar Halfface, and that it would be waiting for you at the dockport at your convenience.
So then we may not take the wagon. I mean, well, what is the plan? Are we?
Yeah, we're gonna take the wagon on the ship, right?
We're taking it all.
But we're
bear, the
taking
wagon, the golem?
Yeah, that's why I was curious. Like, we're going to the island, right? That's the plan. We're going straight to the island and then coming back.
I don't think it's so much an island.
Well,
Yeah, I don't remember it being an island. Was it an island?
Yeah, I don't. I
is
think
it an
it's just like
island?
One second.
I'm thinking of this like in Skyrim where they have the one ice island that you can go to. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so basically you were told, once again, of Macath the Crimson, this sorceress, this tiefling sorceress, that went to investigate the Drakhorn up in the Sea of Moving Ice. You were told by information from Dallas Simmerhelv that Macath reported her progress to the Host Tower, which is the Host Tower of Luskin, where the Arcane Brotherhood resides, that she was part of. She reported her progress to the Host Tower by way of sending spells. Her last report spoke of seeing paddling their swords a huge iceberg, flattened like a plateau across its surface, but ringed by icy peaks. She had intended to follow the ice hunters and investigate the iceberg, and after that, no more reports came. And just in case that broke up.
So yeah, it is kind of like a floating thing.
Yeah, and you all know that the Sea of Moving Ice is basically just a huge sea of icebergs and glaciers floating upon the water and such.
What are ice hunters?
I don't know.
What are icebergs?
What's ice?
All right, so I'm going to instead, since we're gonna do that, I'm assuming we're going to need to take the ferry back because it's going to be near impossible to get anywhere out of there without the ferry. So with that, I'm going to look for a place to board the or stable the horse for long term, and then just however much that's going to be, let me know, and I'll just go ahead and carry all of the food with me.
Okay. So yeah, as you start looking around, thinking, where you're going, it probably wouldn't be a great idea to try to bring a wagon. You could try, but it might be a little difficult. But you talk to the stable hands there at the palace, and they all, very graciously say your horse and wagon here will take care of it. Make sure nobody takes care of it. There's large gates that surround the stable yard, much like the rest of the palace, for security. You feel relatively sure everything will be fine there. And they say they'll take care of it free of charge.
Oh, okay. So I'll grab my personal belongings out of the wagon. If we can fit 100 rations in that, it's 2 each.
It's what?
2 pounds each.
2 pounds per ration. Yes. Yeah, we can hold that.
I mean, if not, we could split it, and I'll carry 50 on me. I just didn't want to carry the whole thing with me.
No, that's fine. Even with all that in there, it's under half capacity in terms of weight.
Okay. All right. So we'll throw the rations for the bear in there. And since we're not taking the horse, I'm going to actually use the blanket to help with the bear, even though the bear may not need it. Just a bit of comfort for the bear as we're going through this ice field.
Okay.
And then that's all I'll be doing, I guess. And then calling it a night, drinking probably at the end.
All right.
One of the ends.
Does anybody? Well, you don't even have to say anything. I mean, you pretty much have a room reserved for you in the palace if you so choose, unless you just want to go hang out.
Oh no, I want to go hang out. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you didn't know down to the southeast, not far away, is the Yawning Portal, very infamous tavern within the city of Waterdeep. But does anybody else have anything they would like to do for the evening before resting?
No, I'm good.
Yeah, all my free time is going to worship and holy things.
Yeah, I'm taking care of gear. That's it.
Okay. All right. So, you spend the afternoon kind of recovering from a bit of an ordeal, but you do find yourself reunited with your friend. Maximilian is now among you once again. He does seem a bit troubled from his somewhat extended, very mysterious wizard that was Diderius. But he seems to be back, even if he was a dragon for a moment there, but he is back. Most of you, all of you in your own way spend time, reflecting and preparing. Max would spend the night in solitude a bit just to get his bearings Stone Skull heading off to the Yawning Portal to partake in their fine drink. Terra and Rogar preparing for the Sea of Moving Ice, and Ignalia paying homage to her deity rather. But with that, the night of revelry as well as concentration and reflection goes incident, and you all find yourself waking up in your respective beds. I imagine Stone Skull might have rented one out of the Yawning Portal. Slosh there the night before. Yeah, had a long night. But you find yourself waking up in your next beds, or the next day in your beds, and free to do what you want to do. But before we go into that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Sandwich time.
Sandwich
According to the Dungeon Master's rulebook.
Cost what? You got cut
like
off.
that.
5,000 gold. Let's make it happen.
I've got.
Oh, we could cover that now.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I bought a bunch of health potions, and it took me below. I could have covered that before we went into the dungeon.
Yeah, I got money. I'm gonna start spending it on stupid shit.
I'm
Like
just
a
thinking
fucking
about
castle?
all the loot that we have that we don't want to carry around.
Mhm.
All right, so for
I mean,
like
but-
maybe
but-
1,000 gold, we can get a contractor. Start expanding the castle.
But we have a wagon though. So
Yeah, but I don't want to put a bolt on the wagon. What if the wagon is stolen?
that's true. That's true. All right. Yeah, I'll be right back. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Thank you for coming, Joe. Appreciate having you here. We're going to take a 5-minute break before we head down to the dock ward and make our way out of Waterdeep and make our way north to the Sea of Moving Ice. But before we do that, 5-minute break. When we get back, we'll continue. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we are just about ready to get up and going again. I think Sirenscape's still playing music, right? Or sounds. Yeah, it's not really doing much, is it? That's alright. We'll stop that. Yeah, so we're getting ready to head north. Make our way to the Sea of Moving Ice. And hunt down the Draghorn, which is good because I'm tired of being attacked by dragons all the time. So, well, not really tired of it, but, you know. All the way at the very, very bottom. And then it's in the middle. It is, look for, it's east, left, it's west of Easting. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right.
Hey, there it is. A lot easier on your map
Here?
where it's labeled.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Endless
Okay.
icy.
Scarf down my
So
pork chops.
much
Willie
stuff.
had to call Steph back and he
All
uses
this stuff
Discord on
up
his
here.
phone, so he had to drop out of Discord.
So this is the
Real
area
quick.
we're
Did
going
for a
to
while.
up
I was
here
just eating.
in this area.
Okay, well, he stepped away. So, you've all woken up the next day. Is there anything y'all would like to do, or do you want to just go ahead and head down to the dock ward?
I think we're gonna head down to the dock ward. I don't
Yeah.
have anything else to do. Magnolia,
Nope, I'm all set.
Steve, Steven?
Is he even here? Has he
Well,
been
not
here
really.
all game?
He
I heard him
said
say something
something
earlier.
in the D&D chat that I think he had to step out.
Oh,
He said BR.
He
Yeah.
said BRB, that was a little while back.
yeah.
Our rogue is so effective. He's here.
I hear him even.
Man, Discord,
That nat 20 bro.
like, has this just been a problem for the last week? Because it was just this way last week.
Yeah, no, it's just been having issues.
And it's
getting real annoying.
it's only on this game because the Sunday games are fine and Wednesday games have been fine.
Lovely. Okay, well, Willie's here. I'm not sure where Ruckus went.
He said he was back. He probably doesn't realize he's muted.
I don't think he stepped away.
All right.
Oh, he said, didn't he?
Or
In
just
chat?
here, so I saw him say BRB. I never saw him say back, but I assume
And
he did.
In game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, y'all are
All
all
right.
planning on heading down to the dock ward anyway, so we'll go ahead and go through that.
Wait. Wait, the Dark Ward is something completely different than the Dark
Yes.
Ward.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of sketchy. I mean, so yeah, you
Alright,
especially he wasn't here before. You all start making your way the castle where you've been staying in the Palace of Waterdeep. You make your way through, heading to the south, heading directly into the dock ward, wanting to try to get to the closest path to it. So
With
you
the
don't
bear,
pass
right?
through the trade warden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the bear. Yeah, bear's just walking on
Yeah.
along, getting strange looks from people around you that kind of shy away as you walk along. You know, these most of Waterdeep is constructed kind of like you would expect a major city in real life to be. You know, there's streets and then there's sidewalks on either side of the street for people to walk down, and you have wagons and stuff going through. I'd walk a bit with this large bear kind of taking up a piece of the street. Everything from people to wagons to just that are being drug around by people as well as animals have a wide berth around you. Avoid this bear that's walking through. You see several guards eyeing you as you walk by, but they don't say anything. As it seems like the bear seems to be well behaved, at least thus far. So you make your way out of the castle ward, getting to Kirish or so, getting into the dock ward. You immediately see that the dock ward seems to be a little bit less upkept. You notice all these kind of street lights that have been through the castle ward and the trades ward have been well kept and always kind of lit up, you assume by some kind of spell. You see a lot of them are smashed and such the closer you get to the docks. As you move into the dock ward, it seems to be a bit of a rough part of town. But during the daylight, you're able to move through the buildings. It's kind of shadowed with some of these being somewhat tall, 4 or 5 stories. But you continue on down until you reach the docks proper. As you move down there, you see the docks all across are just this buzz, or a buzz of activity all around you. People moving to and from ships, moving up and down with goods and crates and such, taking them off the ships and moving up there and loading them onto wagons. You assume be taken off to the trades warders elsewhere. Lots of somewhat rough-looking folks. It's kind of at the end part of summertime here. On the Sword Coast. So it's a little bit more of these men, obviously sailors or people that work upon these boats or the docks year-round are, working around without, shirts on, sweat glistening off them and everything. Definitely just, getting done with their work and everything and giving you sour glances whenever you kind of walk up to any of them. But as you're moving around, everybody give me... except for Terra.
Perception.
Yes.
Oh shit.
You were breaking up. We couldn't hear you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
All right. So, yeah, 32 for his persuasion. That wasn't
32.
even his crispy 13 though. God, how is that so high?
Because he started as a bard, do you forget?
Yeah, I give
yeah, that is true.
charisma as a thing.
Charisma is beefy. All right, and you got expertise too on that. So yeah, as you move around down amongst these docks, you have to head a little bit south as you start reaching kind of the middle point of the dock area. You see several of these long planked, kind of runways, these docks running out into the Deepwater Harbor that lies here to the southwest of Waterdeep. You see several boats. They're somewhat, differently constructed than the ones you've seen. You've seen lots of these, kind of normal-looking boats. Things you see in Pirates of the Caribbean. Kind of beefy looking and such, and with multiple floors down below the main deck and towering sails and such. But as you move down to Hirish or so, you see a few of them that seem to be more along the line of, skimmer boats. They seem to only have, upper deck and lower deck, being a little bit smaller in their construction and lighter, not having a great field of depth with the bottom of the ship, so it's able to cruise across the shallow waters much easier. From the description you got from Leozin's note, you're able to look over and know you're looking for the frost skimmer. As you move over to one of the boats, kind of looking at it, you see kind of painted on the side white, not greatly done artistry as far as writing the letters out, but you clearly see the word frost skimmer painted along the side of it in white paint.
Well, that looks like the ship.
Oh, we forgot to ask if he was okay bringing a bear.
I don't think we'll have much concern about that.
You don't?
If he's with us, then the writ applies to him as well.
This bear has attached some lofty names.
Is the no?
What's that?
I was asking if the the boat's docked and like the gangplank is down. You know what I mean? Is it clearly waiting for us?
As you're looking out, you see that the dock is down. You see several men working in front of the ship, obviously carrying crates of supplies from the dock up onto the ship itself.
As we start making our way down towards those, or I'll make my way down towards those gentlemen and hail to them and say, "We're looking for Captain Half-Face."
As you do that, one of the sailors turns towards you and says, wouldn't call him that if I were you, but Captain Lerostar is up on deck and kind of glances over you. I assume you're the ones we've been waiting for. Go ahead and head on board to be up there next to the top, the back of the ship. Can't miss him, Mask.
Nod currently. So we'll see you aboard then. Then up the plank onto the ship. I'm not even saying anything about the bear. Just a roll of like, yep, this is how we travel. Everything's cool. It's all normal. You guys don't travel with bears.
So as you move forward, you see the two men that were kind of working on the dock kind of shrug you off, and as they're lifting up the next set of crates to take onto the ship, they both stumble backwards, almost dropping their bear, kind of just sauntering up plank and just moving right onto the ship, and you hear a cry out like, "Hey, oh well." As you move on, I have a map for this.
Oh man, I don't see a bear on there.
I don't see a bear on here.
Oh my god!
Just throwing it
I
out
don't know
there.
how I even got onto this boat.
Yes.
So there's your bear.
Alright.
You also make your way onto the side of the ship, kind of bobbing on the water, obviously tied down to the dock, though. As you move forward, you see a man standing up next to the wheel of the ship, towards the back up the stairs, kind of watching over everything. You see him walking forward and leaning over the banisters in front of him as he sees this bear saunter onto the deck, kind of looking around and sniffing the ground and such as the rest of you move on there. And he calls out to you, say, "Hey, what you be doing, bro? My ship."
He's part of our company. He's in the passes were secured by Master Leos, and I imagine you're Captain Larusta.
And as you say that, you see a bit better look at this man. You see that half his face kind of has this leather patch across it, going from his forehead all the way down to his chin. And he seems to just be looking at you with this one eye, and he kind of turns his face with his good eye towards you all, and he says, "Aye, Leosin did secure passage. Didn't say nothing about, but with a heavy sigh, he kind of shrugs. He says, keeps to itself. My men are a bit giddy around large animals, but if you promise it'll be well, then I won't have a problem with it."
I have a pet bear.
He won't be a burden
Just-
at all on you. Isn't that right, Stone
Just
Call?
for those tuning in. I'm gonna
Isn't
reach
that
in.
right, Stone Call?
I'm gonna reach into my pouch and just start opening up a thing of rations and just toss it at it, and it's gonna catch it in midair, and I'm just gonna kind of grin.
Just starts eating away at the rations. With that, you see he kind of shrug and shake his head, and he walks down amongst you, walking over to Max and reached out, shake his hand. I said, "The name's Captain Larusta. I'll be taking you up to the Sea of Moving Ice. I'm a bit of an expert, except to the north of here, though I'm not entirely sure what we're seeking up here."
We're looking for a specific iceberg, one frequented by ice hunters. Are you familiar with the term?
With that, Larusta nods. He says, I be familiar with them. They are the natives of that land. I've spoken with a few of them. A very, kind of think for a moment, and you see him reach up and kind of move the mask away a bit. You see his face is kind of, it almost appears burnt as he scratches it a bit and then covers it back up with the patch. He says, they be a very skittish group of people. They're not much for talking, but they shouldn't be bothering us too much. I'm not sure of what iceberg you be seeking. There's quite a few up there, being the sea of moving ice and all.
One in particular that the hunters themselves seem interested in. One covered in peaks, icy peaks, plateau, a flat plateau on the top of it.
Larissa kind of scratches his beard and shrugs. He says, I don't know of it offhand, but I'm sure we can find it once we make our way there. He kind of looks around the group and gives a bit of a side eye to the bear once again. But shaking his head, he says, all you here, are we ready to depart?
We have finished taking up any time of yours. We can depart when you're ready.
With that, he nods. You see several boxes kind of laid all strewn up the ship. He kind of motions over to him. He's like, you be not needing it now, but there are some warmer clothes that you'll be needing here in a few days. It's a bit chilly in the sea of moving ice, as you can imagine. And he kind of glanced around. Most of you would freeze to death within a few hours, I'd imagine, without them. So they're there for you to take part in. He kind of goes through. He says, dinner served every evening at sunset. My men eat first. If you have anything of your own to eat, by all means. Otherwise, you can have what's left. I'm sure Leo's and let you know that we fend for ourselves here. If anything be attacking the ship, my men, they're not warriors. They are here to sail. They are sailing. He cutlass kind of resting on his hip. He says, I know my way around the sword, but if you could help us out with that, if it be need happening. And with that, he shrugs. Anything? I don't know.
So we will make sure that you to safety. We'll take care of the security if you can handle the sailing.
You see just his mouth that you can see through this mask. He says, I'd be fine with the sailing. You just watch our backs and we'll get you where you need to go. And with that, he kind of leans towards you, Max, and he kind of pulls the mask away from his face. And don't mind this little bit. Frostbite. When I got trapped. Yeah, I only keep it covered to not frighten the children.
So
you see,
unfortunate.
Slaps the mask back across his face and starts walking to the back
Discord
of the
is acting up.
With that, I'll kind of turn and address the group and say, let's make sure we stay out of their way and keep them safe. I don't want to be stranded in the sea of moving ice without a guide.
Agreed. Let's keep a special new friend.
Now I kind of turn and holler back to him. Where should we stow ourselves and our gear?
And the bear, of course.
As you say that,
the gear kind of nod to the bear.
Like, where do we put him? Larissa kind of shrugs. He said, I don't know if he'll fit, and he kind of points over to the stairwells leading down here to the southeast and the northwest. He says, if he fits in there, send him down below. Men will be less. Otherwise, he kind of motions towards the grates here in the center of the ship. Will be where we put a tent up for you to rest your weary heads every night, as well as provide some warmth when we make it into the ice floes that are on. You'll be thankful for it, I assure you.
I have no doubt of that. Cool. I guess we'll go into the hold. Like you said, they'll be less skittish. Yeah, that's what I think. Less skittish. You put a bear to confined space in the hull of a ship.
Yeah, this will be fine, right? Nothing bad.
Just tell them it's a cave.
You go sleep. It'll be cold in a sec.
All right. So as you down below, you're able to just barely squeeze this bear down below. His fur kind of packing in as you do so, but you're able to push him through with Stone Skull's help, making your way down below to the bottom hold of the ship. Which I should have a map for, but I don't for whatever reason.
How much does a bear weigh?
A lot.
Let me find out.
I'm curious, buddy.
A cave bear averages between 880 to
You and Ignalia.
1,100 pounds.
Well.
Oh,
You
that's
probably just lower the bear down in there.
Yeah, could probably do that.
yeah. So yeah, you make your way down, getting the bear secured in the hold down below. You hear the captain shouting off orders to his men. You see there's a good amount of them for the ship, about 35 to 40 of them. Begin manning the ship, setting the sails and such, and detaching from the docks themselves. We'll go to this map. So as you start setting off, like I said, it's about midday or so, so you got about a half day before darkness falls. But as you start moving away from water deep of the Deepwater Harbor, making your way through the large wooden gates that kind of separate it from the sea out to your west, you notice that this boat is very agile for its size, even with all the extra weight of freaking bear. Across the water very easily. And you see the land just kind of skimming along as you start heading to the north.
I'm assuming we're staying near the coast the whole time. Like, this isn't a deep water vessel.
Yeah, you're able, like I said, it has a very shallow draft. It's not made for deep sea sailing. It's made to stay along the shoreline in the shallower waters and then be able to navigate through, the ice flows to the land you're heading to. So we all know that we don't want to deal with travel time. It takes you about 5 days to reach the Sea of Moving Ice. You start heading up to the north, going very quickly. You know that this is, much more efficient than as you did before. Easily, having the time that it would take to cross the Sword Coast, if not quicker. But you find yourself heading to the north, and as you do so, it noticeably and very colder. You find yourselves, everybody except Stone Skull, I'd imagine, and maybe Ignalia, having to don your winter gear over your armor and such, for those of you that are wearing it.
Under and over.
Yeah, just...
You were padding underneath that shit.
Uh-huh. Because it drops down very low, well below freezing before you even reach this place that the captain tells you is the Sea of Moving Ice. And you're able to clearly see why it gets its name, as you see ice flows everywhere. Somehow surrounded you as you wake up the next morning. The captain tells you that you're here. You find yourself just surrounded by floating ice, some of them, 15 to 20 feet across or so, but then other ones seem to stretch for at least a mile off in the distance. You can't see the end of these ice pieces that float around you. You see lots of peaks and such of miniature icebergs that are jutting out of the water. And as you start moving through this, the boat begins to slow a bit, and the Captain Listus basically tells you that moving through the ice is a bit precarious. You have to cut the speed a bit, but you'll be able to start moving through and searching for this iceberg that you were seeking out.
I want to take flight and get a better vantage point. See if I can get a view of what we're looking at and where we're headed.
Okay. So as you do so, you start flying up above everything. Not able to fly super swiftly. You just barely keep up, fly up ahead. Once again, you see much the same. As far as you can see, all around you. You see what appears to be ice floes and small icebergs and such. A few icebergs, often in the distance, rising mountains. You actually mistake them for mountains at first until you see that they do just end in the water abruptly. You're unable to see any that clearly seem to plateau off, but you feel with your gotta have a better idea of it. So as you start spending the morning searching, I need Stone Skull to roll me a d6.
D6.
Mm-hmm.
Phew.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So as you have made your way into the sea of moving ice, you see the crew is moving a bit more slowly, not having to upkeep the ship around you as much. All of them wrapped up in winter wear, the captain himself. All of them kind of huddle around, their breath, coalescing into gaseous form, with just the sheer cold of everything around you. As you start making your first morning around, you all start searching. Everybody looking around. Maximilian from up in the sky also doing so. You don't quite see anything that resembles what this iceberg could quite be. But as you're doing so, map in the sky, what do you find? Like 50 feet or so?
I was thinking like a bow shot, like buck 50.
Buck 50? Okay. Huh?
I figure I can't go much higher than that anyway, because wings freezing are a real thing. So I got to make sure I can get down safely.
Right. So Maximilian flying up above the boat, trying to once again keep pace with it, so he can keep it clearly in sight and know where he needs to land. The rest of you give me perception checks.
I'm completely blind on this boat. Is this based on sound?
This is fear-based.
Okay. So not based.
Not based on sight. Okay. Stone Skull, Rogar, and Terra. You all feel the boat noticeably lurch to the right. And as you all kind of shift your feet, Ignalia coming to aware of it and everything, like, well, what was that? You see some of the men on the right side of the boat begin scrambling back towards the middle of it. And you see long orange tendrils begin to rise up and latch onto the side of the boat as you find yourselves under attack.
Yeah! Yes!
By giant octopi. I need everybody to roll for initiative.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, it's about as good as my initiative could ever get. Let's wrap it up there.
I just give up on initiative rolls. I don't roll anything higher than an 8.
You don't.
I think last week I didn't get higher than a 5.
Oh,
It's okay, Zorn. You won't start a
Oh,
fight,
I
but
did
you'll
get higher
clean
than
one
a
up.
second. What are you doing up there all the way? You're supposed to be down here with me.
The bear is under. So, bear's not here.
okay.
Alrighty.
I hope he
So-
likes the.
You find these giant octopi seem to be climbing over the ledge of the boat, the men backing away as this happens. And you see lots of tentacles kind of starting to move into the boat, the ship rather. This one over here is going to latch up, just getting its beady eyes over the edge, and is going to lash out towards Ignalia. 12 is going to miss.
Devious.
So it lashes out at you, unable to gain purchase on you as you kind of swat away the tentacle coming towards you, not taking any damage, not grappled by it. Max, you were 100 feet in the air, 150 feet in the air.
So how fast can I get down within 30 feet of the top of the boat?
Basically, you have a set movement speed for flying, but you still can like dash and everything for that too. Or you can just let yourself drop.
Yeah, that's more kind of what I'm thinking, like free fall action. See the boat's in danger, tuck the wings.
Make sure to stop early, or you will hurt. I learned this while you were away.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So if you control your fall, you can move down 60 feet per round. So 6 feet, or 10 feet per second. If you don't control it, you can go much quicker.
10 feet per second, so almost terminal velocity.
Yeah, that's essentially like feather fall will allow you to fall at 60 feet per second, or per round, rather.
Okay. I guess my question is, would I be able to fall down to a point where I'm in striking distance with a spell?
You could instantly fall. However, it will be very difficult to stop yourself. Basically, you can, if you fall from a great height, you can instantly descend up to 500 feet in one round. So, I mean, if you want to control your fall, it's going to be 60 feet. If you just let go, you can try to stop yourself, but yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, then I'll control my fall and get on 60 feet. That means how far did we say I was up?
150.
150. All right.
Yeah,
so I'll fall. I'll go down to 90 feet. Then. Oh. Can I, with Bardic Inspiration, this is a bonus action, can I use an active bonus action? Can I use both to give 2 points of inspiration?
You cannot.
Okay.
They're not interchangeable, unfortunately.
Oh, no worries. I was curious. Alright, I will fly down and loose a... How did crossbows work with multiple attacks? No, that's only melee, isn't it? Yeah, never mind. So go crossbow bolt.
Okay.
This one, sorry. We'll just start here.
Okay.
Yep.
15 will hit.
Awesome. That's a +1 bolt. So, 16 and 5, I guess.
Okay, so 5 damage. Okay.
And then I will shout down to Stone Skull and give him a point of inspiration.
Alrighty. Anything else?
Nope, that'll be it.
Been a while since I've had to do this. I had to remember what symbol I used. Alright, so Max kind of tucks his wings down, just keeping them ever so slightly diving down towards the boat. He immediately raises his crossbow from his side, firing off a quick bolt that goes down and hits this giant octopus that's starting to slither over the side of the ship. Hitting it, but not doing a ton of damage to it as it seems to just keep coming, ignoring the crossbow bolt now sticking out of one of its tendrils. He shouts down at Stone Skull, kind of warning him of one next to him, giving him a point of inspiration. Ignalia.
Alright. I will approach the tentacles nearest me and attempt to chop off whichever one is doing the most to, help it climb up the side.
Okay.
And
14 will hit.
All right, lackluster damage. I'll go ahead and smite that.
Okay.
So for 6 more.
All right.
Yeah, that's all for me.
Also moving forward, seeing these tentacles and this large bulbous head beginning to edge of the ship, takes a quick slash with her sword, slashing through one of the tentacles, not quite cutting all the way through it, but to it as it kind of links back a little bit, shrinking away from the pain. Radiant and fire energy kind of bursts from the wound a bit, blowing the tentacle off of the ship itself, but several more come up and immediately start pulling it forward as it keeps its grasp on the ship. Steve.
Come over here and whatever tentacles I can on this.
Okay.
Mmm.
Ooh, yeah, nat 20 hits.
That much.
Okay. So that'll actually be 18, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
He's just ducking and dodging.
All right, disengaging away. So, Steve moves forward very quickly, and as he does, this bulbous head begin to encroach over the side of the ship, and immediately kind of reaches over with his newfound rapier and stabs direct, dealing a critical blow to it as he pulls away. This inky kind of blood starts leaking out of the wound as he dashes, dancing back away from the railing, kind of looking down at the rapier like, that looks pretty nice. Being the first time he's used it. And Stone Skull.
Balance.
Bonus action, going to go ahead and rage. And taking Langrados's fancy little sword out, I'm going to hack my way. Yeah. I'm going to hack my way into this octopus twice.
Yeah.
15 and 16. And
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay right here.
Okay. All right. So Stone Skull, drawing this great sword, screams in rage as he charges forward, bringing Langrados's great sword down, kind of chopping at these tentacles that are climbing up. With both his swings, these two tentacles that were kind of raising the body of this octopus up onto the side of the boat are just immediately cut clean of it as it hoists itself up and reaches up with other tentacles before it falls. It takes a massive amount of damage from that one attack, though. Okay, well, it is going to retaliate and attempt to tentacle you. At 11.
No.
Alright, so it's going to miss its one whole attack. Unable to get a hold of you to drag you into the water. Terra.
Terra will put an Aegis on Stone Skull with her bonus action. And then she is going to attempt to hurl an Earth Bolt towards the sound of the fighting that is at disadvantage because I cannot see. Does a 19 hit?
Which one are you aiming at?
The one by Stone Skull.
Yes, that hits.
Alright. So that will stick inside of the octopus and get rid of my disadvantage on that one. Right?
Mm-hmm. How much damage does it do?
13.
Okay.
And that will end my turn.
All right. So, some stone or some earth and such kind of flies out of Terra's pocket and begins surrounding Stone Skull, since there's not really any dirt or anything otherwise, giving him a buff from, protection from giant octopus might be able to do. An earth bolt, dirt kind of eking out of her, piercing into the side of this bulbous head that was just self up above the side of the ship once again. This thing is just barely standing at this point. It's reeling and moving back and forth erratically. This one is going to move itself completely onto the side of the ship moving towards Steve and attempt to tentacle him. A 15.
Nope.
All right. Well, they can get nothing going for them, unfortunately, as it reaches out and Rogar quickly sidesteps around the tentacle, kind of dancing around it, and it does not connect with him. This one is going to attempt once again to volley off the boat. An 11.
No, sir. No, not even close. That's a
Not
plank.
even
That's
getting-
literally wood.
Trying to drag the boat rocks precariously, but unfortunately for it, it is not even able to get close to snagging Ignalia. Max.
I am going descending, but I'm only going to descend. Oh no, another 60 feet. That's perfect. Down to 30 feet,
Okay.
and I am going to scream in just a guttural roar, and on that squid octopi.
An octopus. Okay. It's got to make a wisdom saving throw. Natural 20.
Ow. Both would have worked. Oh no, I got 17. Never mind. 20 would have worked. Feeling the magic kind of fizzle and fade, I'm going to use another point of inspiration for Rogar.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
And that's it.
Okay. So yeah, you let out this beefy scream as you're descending, attempting to frighten this creature away, but it seems very preoccupied, staring down Rogar, attempting to get after him. So you quickly let Rogar know that it wasn't phased by your spell, to be ready, giving him a point of inspiration. Ignalia.
I'm gonna continue to prepare sushi.
Okay.
Sushi.
A 17. Much better round. And I'm gonna smite it again because that's fun.
Okay.
So added on 11 radiant.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, so another heavy hit. This time, actually finally cutting through the tentacle, dealing a good chunk of damage. As once again, it bursts with fire and radiant energy. You see this thing clinging onto the side of the ship, but beginning to kind of slink down after taking a massive hit. It also looks very beat up. Rogar.
I need a deception check from him, or the one.
Oh, you're insightful fighting?
Yep.
Okay. 9. Huh, yeah. Yeah, you will get a sneak attack on it. 19 will hit. For 16. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Because I'm mobile, I'm going to move away, and then I'll have to disengage.
Okay. Well, it is going to
No, you
attempt.
can't. Because I'm mobile.
Oh, you have mobile now? That's terrifying. Okay, yeah, so you back away after striking this creature. It's stunned away as you get a quick blow kind of to its underbelly, stunning it just ever so briefly for time for you to move away from it. And it doesn't get to attack you. Stone Skull.
Going to continue my assault on this poor octopus.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, just for humor's sake, I guess. Yeah.
And that's not even
That's not
accurate. I've got to
max.
fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to fix that right now.
Yeah, because that would
Yeah.
be 12 plus 11,
Yeah.
which would be 3.
Poor octopus.
It's
gonna-
just kebab now.
Yeah. I'm gonna come say hi to this one, since yeah, he's here.
Uh-huh.
25.
Ooh.
Is he there? Nope. No, he's not.
Oh, poor
Oh,
thing.
no.
We
No,
have.
I just
Stone Skull's fucking pest remover.
Don't worry.
You
We
got
have
squid problems.
Because I'm pretty sure I stole his kill last week.
we have rations like raw octopus for the next week.
For the crew.
For the bear.
Contributing.
For the bear.
All right. The one that you killed kind of slinked off into the ocean as the boat continued going, so you're not going to be able to retrieve that one without extra effort. But this one to the north, way onto the side of the ship, as your second attack hits it, clawing. Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
No. All right. So, two big old quick chops from the great sword are able to take out two of these octopi without much issue. Tara.
Tara's going to use her bonus action to send up there and attempt to attack.
Okay.
Cool.
Aw.
GG, Mr. Pebbles.
Well, a 2
Oh.
and a 2, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then she's going to attempt to try and hit the last one. Does a 15 hit
15 does hit.
for 7?
Seven. Oh, not
Ledge.
quite enough. Not quite enough. You have sight of it now, but you feel the earth bolt that you fire out to it, piercing deep inside of its flesh. You hear this kind of gurgling sound coming out of its body as it's struggling to keep itself on the boat, but it's super almost dead.
Oh, well, then my
Anything else?
turn.
All right. This guy's dead. This one's not. This guy's gonna disengage and disappear into the water.
Yeah,
Grab it.
That's
probably
right. You better run.
Grab it. No, you don't.
No. Hey,
No, you can't run around
you saw-
sushi.
You saw what happened with that dragon. Get that thing and pull it back up on the ship. Oh.
It
A,
said
he
nah.
disengaged, and B, that dragon left and never returned because he knew we'd fuck it up.
And
Going
they
to,
might have followed the dragon while you were gone too.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Got land back on the on the ship. Well, that was almost exciting.
Wait.
Uh,
As Stone Skull calms down, he's like, "Wait, exciting."
Just remember, every D&D battle can be summarized with, okay, this is what it looks like when it, starts, and then the SpongeBob 12 seconds later, and then it's just sushi everywhere.
Pretty much. So yeah, you find this battle did not last very long as these giant octopi were easily dispatched by the group. You see the men were initially taken aback, but all kind of give you nods of approval as you hoist this last giant octopus onto the boat and begin kind of cutting it off, taking a few pieces, I imagine, down for your cave bear friend. But everybody else, I think, on the ship can eat fairly well, at least for lunch or dinner tonight. Now that you have all this sashimi for you to eat.
No, it'd be great. They can just leave it out. It'll be frozen. They can just thaw it out.
Yeah.
The bear's gonna be eating tentacles like it's, pasta.
Slurping them up. Oh, gross.
Way Kong does on Kong Skull Island when it kills the giant octopus. Tentacles like all tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
All right, so just remove that for the sake of that. So you continue sailing on, not letting your voyage be impeded by a few octopi, messing with your day. You continue on. It starts getting past midday. You go ahead and eat your rations for lunch, and continue search for this mysterious plateaued iceberg that you're looking for. Ignalia, give me a d6 plus 1.
Plus one.
Plus one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
King me.
King.
Okay. So,
King me.
as you're moving on, Max, are you flying back in the air again, or are you just chilling on the boat now?
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out on the boat for a bit.
Okay. So as you're all sailing forward, a few hours have passed since you're running with the octopi. You find yourselves running around the ship, kind of looking out in the distance. Well, once again, you see lots of, ever-growing icebergs as you move further into the sea of moving ice. As you're looking around, it seems like a lot of them, and even now as you move closer, it seems like a mist kind of just starts hanging in the air around you. Obviously, just kind of the runoff of what's on these, the condensation and stuff off of these icebergs and such. So it gives a little bit of a harder way to see. But as you're all looking around, kind of seeing off in the distance, kind of framed in the mist, you can see there's no mistaking the silhouette of this massive iceberg. You see juts of what appear to be peaks going off to the left and right of it, almost like these jagged teeth at the top. You see the middle of it is kind of flattened out, and what appears to be a kind of lumpy plateau atop of it. And you all feel that you've found what you were looking for when described by Makath the Crimson.
We made it.
There it is.
It's only a model.
Now
Yeah,
that
I definitely want to gain some altitude and check this out. Now that we're in sight.
So once again, kind of giving you the flavor of what you're seeing. So in the distance, kind of shrouded in mist, you see this, what almost appears to be a mountain if you didn't know any better, but this is just to be a humongous iceberg in the distance. You start sailing forward. I imagine you're telling Lestava to head that direction.
Yeah, Captain.
Okay.
There she is.
So with that, he nods. He directs his men. You all start moving in that direction. You see that the captain has ordered for rowers to be brought out. These massive oars are kind of set over the side of the ship, and they begin rowing at a steady pace as you start moving forward, kind of traversing in between these ice floes and such, bumping off of them, but with the shallow depth that this ship has, it's able to glide just across the ice and such and keep going that way. As you continue forward, about another hour and a half or so passes as you're moving steadily forward. You see this large iceberg begins to start to come out of the distance, becoming clearer and clearer the closer you get to it. You see that it clearly seems to resemble this iceberg that you were told about from Makath the Crimson's reports to the Arcane Brotherhood. As you get closer, you see what appear to be bones kind of sitting on top of these flat pieces of ice that kind of surround this large iceberg, kind of huddled against it and moving along with it. As you see, this iceberg is obviously moving through the water. It might be why Lestava had never seen it before, because it was constantly moving. But honestly, you're able to find it very quickly through this. Let's see. So you arrive up next to it as you start to move forward. Even with Max's elevation, it's about 250 feet or so up to the top of where this plateau is. So he can't even see from his current elevation the top of this plateau as you get closer. But down towards the bottom of it, you see kind of this large crevice through the ice that almost seems like something cut it out, winding up the side of it. And as you start to get closer, you see what appear to be boats. They look a bit odd compared to what you've seen before. They're kind of gray in coloration and almost seem to be rippling as the waves lap against them. The sealskin boats mentioned in the reports. You see they're tied to the side of this iceberg through what appear to be like tooth pitons driven into the ice of it. Once again, more of these bones kind of laying up and piled up beyond these boats. Some of them very large, others somewhat smaller. You see what leading up to this large crack in the side of the iceberg.
That looks like an entry point if I've ever seen one. Turning to the captain. Captain, how long can you stay in the area if we need to depart?
With that, you see the captain kind of eyeing up and down the iceberg before you, and he kind of shrugs, looking back down towards the sealskin boats. He kind of shrugs and says, "We can remain here as long as necessary. I'd prefer not to." He kind of motions toward the iceberg. Prefer not to leave the ship without a suitable guard. So he thinks for a moment. He says, "If you are going to speak to the ice hunters," he kind of thinks, "Well, without presuming, do any of y'all speak their language?"
They have a different dialect. What language do they speak?
With that, he says, it's like they speak a language native to this land. Not many people know it outside of the tribe. It's called Udir.
Is there anyone on board your ship, Captain, that could help?
And with that, he nods. He turns around. You see one of the deckhands. He yells out, "Hey, Raph, come here!" And one of the men walks over, kind of gangly built, tall man with skinny appendages and stuff. But he walks over. He says, "You still remember how to speak Udir?" And with that, the man nods. He says, "Yes, I do, Captain. I learned a bit of it. I'm no expert in the language, but I can passively speak it if necessary." So with that, as well, Raph can join you if necessary. The rest of us are going to probably stay here, though.
Yeah, Wrath, if you could, it would probably avoid the situation escalating the violence if we have the ability to speak with them.
As you say that, Raph nods. He says, "I don't mind for you. Normally, the ice hunter people are, very shy, very skittish, but they're not hostile or anything like that. I don't mind translating for it. I don't see any trouble happening unless you do anything to upset them, of course."
No, we don't know who we're going to find here. Better to be prepared.
And with that, Raph and the captain nod to you and say, "Very well." With that, they start moving the boat up alongside the iceberg itself, giving you enough room to depart and kind of jump over onto the ice itself. Just being a sheer cliff, essentially off into the water. So the boat is able to sail up right next to it with the oars' help, and everybody jumping off onto the iceberg. Anybody staying behind?
I mean, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow.
Yeah, bro. Getting off this boat.
And grab the bear too.
Grab the bear too. Okay. All right. So as you start making your way off the boat, jumping off, Stone Skull retrieving his bear friend, you see a bit of a sigh of relief going through the sailors as the bear finally exits. You notice that not a lot of them went below deck unless they absolutely had to do so during your few-day voyage up here. But as you start moving onto the shore, once again, you see it's just littered with these, some very large bones, some a bit smaller and such all around you. But you do see what appears to be an ice chasm splitting this cliff face before you. And as you're looking forward, you see near the bottom of this chasm, it's about 20 feet wide or so, you see what appear to be steps that are cut into the ice leading almost straight up. Oh, sorry.
Man.
I told you that. That's the language. Uluik.
No. Yeah, so there's room enough for all of us to continue forward through the crack in the ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 20 feet wide. You see it does seem to narrow the further up it gets from what you can see of it, before the kind of mists start shrouding your vision up to the directly above you. But there's plenty of room for you all to start making your way up.
Yeah. We'll start making my way.
Everybody else just following suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Probably riding the
Affirmative.
bear now.
Okay. All right. So as you start making your way up these icy steps, you notice that they're, seemingly well made. You're able to easily climb up them without much ado. Once again, you do see that the steps and the path kind of narrows a bit down. It actually forces you from, instead of walking side by side, to start walking single file. The bear kind of struggling as it moves up, but is able to keep going up, squeezing in between the sides of this icy chasm. It takes you about 20 minutes or so of climbing, all of you getting a good workout from this after being stuck on the confines of the boat. But it was a good excuse to stretch your legs. You find yourself nearing the top, and as you crest across the top of this stairwell leading up to the plateau above you, you're immediately greeted by barking. When you quickly search and look around, you see what appear to be these white-colored dogs, maybe small wolves. All of them kind of pinned onto stakes with leashes out. And as you cross over, it seems obvious that they've smelled or heard you or something, as they all begin barking in your direction.
Dogs.
So, yeah, I'm gonna draw, draw my sword and get in a defensive stance. Mention the rest. I think we've probably run into company.
Okay. Everybody gave me perception checks except Tara.
Perception. That's wrong window. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So as you start to move over, like I said, these dogs that you can see, about 50 feet or so ahead of you, begin barking in your direction. All of them, leashed together, not able to move towards you, but definitely giving off a raucous sound. Ignalia and Stone Skull, you start glancing around the area. Off to your east, you see the cliff face that you just transcended moving up. But you look over to your left and you see this wall rising up, this ice wall. And you stare at it, and then you both take a double take as you see what appear to be people inside of the wall. You see frozen corpses in this wall of ice. You see 10 of them kind of lined up in a row. You see 3 people holding swords that look like warriors. You see a dwarf. And you see 6 people you don't quite recognize their race. Their skin's kind of tannish down, all of them wearing heavy cloaks and what appear to be made of wool and such. Very warm clothing. All of them frozen, some of them having, bloody scars and stuff from heavy damage that was done to them before they were frozen in ice. All of them blank expressions, just staring in your direction.
That's horrifying.
What do you want to do?
So, let me get this straight, so we're all on the same page here. The wall next to us is completely just bodies are encased in it.
There are 10 bodies, yes.
Can we tell how old they are?
It's hard. I mean, the ages of the men inside there, it's hard to tell exactly, ranging back and forth. How long they've been there, it's hard to tell. They could have been preserved for days or, years, just frozen solid like this.
I believe we found a trace of a Rathador.
So the dogs are still barking too while this is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Something to take note of. I mean, if they're clearly dead and they've been dead for a while, there's not a lot we can do about them. It's something to be wary about, though.
The dogs could be chained here as a warning, though. But who are they warning?
They can't. They don't.
As you say that, as you begin thinking about that, you see these dogs still barking and yelping towards you. You start to see in front of you, further along the path that you see at the end of these stairs, the mist kind of starts to clear away, and you see what appear to be structures. You see dark colorations, as it appears to be hides of different sorts, strung over bones or something of that nature. It appears to be several tents kind of loom out of the mist before you. As the mist also clears and you start seeing these structures, you see a bunch of people. You see people in these, furry cloaks. Their skin kind of darkish, very similar to some of the bodies that you saw in the wall next to you. All of them are holding spears, a couple of them holding staffs as they start to move towards you, very warily, holding their spears out and such in a defensive posture as they start to move towards the group of you.
I'm gonna lower my weapon a bit, but keep my shield up, and then look back to Wrath and say, "Now would be a good time to tell them we won't mean them any harm."
As you say that, Wrath kind of steps forward, and you see a very confused look on his face, and he kind of whispers back over towards you as he starts to move forward to the front of the group. He says, "The Ice Hunters aren't usually like this. They're cautious, but typically friendly people. Coming with weapons bared is very unusual." And with that, he kind of shrugs and moves forward, and you hear him rolling through this kind of rough dialect, this language that he speaks, kind of talking towards them. You see one man kind of standing in the center, a bit larger than everybody else, moves forward, holding up a staff as he does so, and kind of slams it on the ground and responds to Wrath in that same guttural, rough language. Then you see Wrath turn around towards you and kind of blank stares you, and he says, "He wants us to leave immediately." And as Wrath says that, you find yourself in a very strange place, confronted by strange people who seem to be a bit aggressive towards you. But that being said, that is where we're going to end the session for the evening.
Alright.
A bit early for those that have to wake up early.
I thought we were gonna wipe out the locals.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm getting ready to kind of reach back and just send the bear right after him. It's fine.
Smack the bear's ass.
Let the bear do its thing.
Let my bear people go. So yeah, we'll see how this whole situation with these Ice Hunters plays out next week.
Yeah. All right. I'll end stream and I'll be right back. All right. So yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. Unfortunately, one of our players is not going to be able to stick around for very much longer because he has a very long day ahead tomorrow. So, kind of with that, we're going to find somebody to go say hi to. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? Dump stats on. Let's go to dump stat because I like dump stat. They're wonderful people, and they're playing a Fallout game. So yeah, let's go do that. Go over to dump stat, say hi to them. They're fantastic human beings. We are back tomorrow with Civil War. I hope you'll tune in for it. It should be a lot of fun for us. Really, I think that's about it. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys again tomorrow at 7:30. So have a good night.